Every story begins before anyone realizes it has begun. Before the name, before the stage, before the moment becomes a movement. For Simio Sync, it began with a question I could not shake. In the years leading up to 2017, simulation was already changing how organizations worked. Systems were being modeled. Risk was being explored before it became real. Decisions were improving. But something felt incomplete. Across industries, people were solving complex, high-stakes problems. Powerful problems, important problems, and they were doing it apart. I saw the same patterns everywhere I went. The same challenges, the same breakthroughs, the same lessons learned the hard way, and it became clear to me that the most valuable insights were not inside the software. They were inside the people using it. So I asked a question: what happens if we bring simulation leaders together? That question came from me, Eric Howard. A belief that if people could learn across industries, something bigger would emerge. That belief was reinforced early by Rich Ritchie, Simio's former vice president of sales, whose passion for relationships and shared learning helped encourage this vision. Rich has since stepped into a well-earned retirement, and I like to think he is still watching Simio Sync grow and evolve. That question became something more. It became something I set out to build. It became Simio Sync. In 2017, alongside the IISE Annual Conference in Pittsburgh, Simio Sync launched with a clear purpose. Not as another conference, not as a marketing event, but as a place for real conversations around real decisions. That year, presentations focused on how simulation was being used in manufacturing, healthcare, government, and defense to manage complexity, variability, and risk. People saw that different industries were wrestling with the same problems. Different environments, same decisions. The connection was immediate. In 2018, Simio Sync deepened. Presentations moved beyond individual projects and into how simulation influenced leadership thinking and organizational behavior. People shared how models were shaping trust in data, confidence in choices, and alignment across teams. This was the year honesty became the foundation. What worked? What failed? What changed everything? By 2019, the experience had earned its name, Simio Sync. Because this was no longer just about building models. It was about synchronizing people, data, and decisions. This was the year digital twins took center stage, not as concepts, not as demonstrations, but as operational systems used every day. Simulation crossed a line and it became something organizations relied on. Then came 2020 and everything shifted. Travel stopped, plans changed, uncertainty became constant. Simio Sync did not pause. Simio Sync did what simulation teaches us to do: adapt. We shifted from in-person to digital, and in doing so, something unexpected happened. We were suddenly able to reach more people, connect more voices, bring more perspectives into the conversation. Presentations that year focused on resilience, scenario planning, and decision-making under uncertainty. Simulation was no longer a nice-to-have. It was essential. In 2021, Simio Sync continued to expand through digital connection. Executives, engineers, and strategists joined from wherever they were. Discussions centered on digital transformation and decision intelligence. Simulation moved from projects into enterprises. In 2022, the questions changed. No longer does this work, but how do we scale it? Presentations highlighted automation, integration, and always-on digital twins supporting decisions every single day. Leaders shared what it truly took to move simulation from an initiative into a capability. In 2023, adaptability defined the conversation. Models were no longer just accurate, they were responsive, learning from reality, adapting as systems changed. By 2024, simulation had fully entered the executive conversation. Simio Sync became a place where enterprise strategy, risk, and long-term planning were shaped with confidence. And then came 2025, a year defined by acceleration. Presentations focused on scaling decision intelligence, expanding adaptive digital twins across entire organizations, and connecting simulation more tightly to real-time data and AI-driven insights. Leaders shared how simulation was no longer supporting decisions after the fact, but shaping them as they happened. The conversation moved beyond transformation and into leadership in a world of constant change. By this point, Simio Sync had become a place where the future was actively being built. And that brings us to today. Simio Sync is no longer just an event, it is a movement, a place where industries move together, where insight becomes action, where the future is not guessed, it is modeled, tested, and shaped. And this moment is not about looking back, it is about what happens next. The conversations you are about to have matter. The ideas shared here matter. The connection you make may change a decision far beyond this event. The next breakthrough may not come from your industry, it may come from the person presenting next. This is Simio Sync, and the story continues.